My name is Consuela Robb, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my presentation designed to help you improve your learning through the use of mobile technologies. As of 2017, two-thirds of the global population used mobile devices. This meant that mobile devices became the highest scale technology used by consumers worldwide. Many mobile phone users, particularly in developed countries, opt for smartphones over basic phones and feature phones. This is because smartphones enable internet access. Despite the saturation of mobile devices in global markets, 50% of the world do not have access to smartphones and are not on the internet at all. This occurs in mostly lower-income developing countries, who account for 42% of the unconnected population. Lower-income countries face barriers to connection that are not as common in developed countries. You may like to pause this slide to read more about these barriers in depth. Now, let's take a second to pause this video and explore today's learning objectives, before we move on to the next section. Mobile devices promote various learning styles that aren't always achievable in traditional classroom settings. Let's start with information transmission. Information transmission is simply the transfer of knowledge from one person to another. A typical example would be attending a lecture. This style of learning is beneficial as it is informative, engaging, inspiring, and transformational. Then there is social constructivism. This style of learning was first proposed by the notable psychologist Lev Vygotsky. Vygotsky proposed that all knowledge is constructed socially through interaction with others. The key word here is interaction. It is through interaction that students form communication skills and learn in a collaborative environment. And finally, we have situated learning. Situated learning is learning that is attached within real-life activity, context, and culture. An example of situated learning is an apprenticeship. Okay, so you must be thinking, what on earth does mobile have to do with it? Well, mobile devices support these styles of learning. One technology you have probably already heard of is an e-book. E-books are electronic versions of printed paper books that can be accessed on mobile devices. E-books have several utilities that printed books do not offer, such as those that can be seen on the screen. This technology promotes the transmission of information from one person to another in a seamless and effortless way. Next, we have quick response codes. Quick response codes are bidimensional, machine-readable, high-information encoding codes that can be scanned from using various QR code apps on your phone. QR codes are another example of a seamless and effortless transmission of information from one person to another. On the screen, you're seeing an example of a QR code I made, and I scanned it using an app called Enigma and linked it to this website. Next, we have educational apps. These are applications that are developed for the primary purpose of teaching. Educational apps offer a style of learning that is self-directed, learner-centered, and creative. One example is the app Khan Academy. This app allows for a personalized learning experience through the availability of infinite educational videos, practice questions, and progress tracking features. This is an example of information transmission as it closely resembles an online lecture. The greatest affordance is that it can be done anywhere, anytime, and with anyone. Moving on to geosocial mobile technologies. These are social-centered location-based apps which often display maps of areas and streets that exist in the real-world environment. One geosocial app I like to use is called Foursquare. This app promotes both social constructivist and situated learning. Tips and tricks are left by users that are intended to help others, such as on the screen there are 3 tips left about UWA. Learning is achieved through the sharing of experiences, and similarly, the geolocation map allows you to learn in a setting that is attached within the real-world environment. Finally, we have augmented reality apps. Augmented reality is the integration of virtual objects, digital information, and communication channels with the real-world environment, allowing for real-time interactions. An example of an AR game that has been utilized in education is known as Mentira. Mentira promotes a social constructivist style of learning, as students are encouraged to work together to solve a mystery set in a Spanish neighborhood. Mentira incorporates situated learning. This is because students are situated within the cultural context of their learning. So this brings us to the end of my presentation. I now encourage you to reflect on how much of your mobile usage is directed towards educational purposes. Please feel free to pause the video and read some initial feedback I received from my classmates, as well as acknowledging my references. Thank you so much for listening.